What is up? We're back and live again. Episode 10. 10 of Kangz Council. Man, 10 episodes already. You got caught lacking already. This is the podcast with aspirations of being on all of your screens in the future. But with that being said, let's follow up with the introductions. We got the homie who was permanently chat banned in every multiplayer game that we played, Despair.
Yes. Accurate.
we got the homie who is perpetually lining up all of his objections towards life. Follow your dreams.
Ooh, I thought that was going somewhere else.
Yeah, right.
You never know where I'm going. Oh yeah, of course we got the homie who was just informed by Kevin Feige that he will never get a solo film, Cosmic Kaiser.
The fuck do I need a solo film for? I am my own person. I can make my own shit. Fuck them.
And then
crazy.
A moment of PTSD for the homie who's wondering if Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, if he's gonna get hit with Wave of the Land. Kid Crazy.
Oh damn! That hurt my soul. I'm still under a Titan's butt.
Damn.
And then,
To this
of
day.
course, your host who is viciously attacking his own backlog, your boy Super Freak 187. What's up, y'all? We're ready to go. You know what else is ready to go? Microsoft with these announcements, boys. What is going on? We were on it last week, but they just came out and said it.
I'm glad the speculation was just that fucking speculation. Everyone just got shut up.
It was all rumor, right? It was all
Yeah.
rumor. I think that's one thing like that was stated, that it was rumor, and there were some things that were being stated as fact. So I got a bit confused. I thought Indiana Jones was confirmed coming out for PlayStation, but it is not. Phil Spencer came out and he was just like, no Starfield, no Indiana Jones. Fuck you, PlayStation cocksuckers. That's not coming to you. So what they did is Microsoft did an announcement, and I think they really desperately needed to do this because of all the rumors, and they needed to do this right, and I think they did it right, honestly.
The weird part is, right? Like, what were we assuming? We were assuming that they were just gonna. What was the worst people were assuming? That they were gonna fucking not. They were gonna go third party or some bullshit like that. That was the worst, right?
Yeah. The worst was like Xbox is over, and
that was silly to think.
Microsoft is the new Sega.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Like, imagine,
that was the worst case
whoever
scenario.
said that is crazy, because Sega ain't got Microsoft money. Like,
hell no.
They didn't have a choice.
Not a lot of people have Microsoft money.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Well, you know, it's interesting, right? Because in a lot of avenues of the business, whether it's like filmmaking or like celebrity, or like you usually view that person, and like some nitwit from social media is like rumoring something, like you don't want to comment on it, right? But there's certain things where it's like it's becoming its own monster, so to speak, that you just gotta be like, look, normally I don't address any of this shit, but
I feel like that's why they came out and it was just like, all right, let's get ahead of this before people start getting outrageous fuking rumors going on. Because people were going crazy.
Yeah, they used to, because the Xbox fanboys were going nuts. They were,
It was adding onto adding. It was it was becoming like a little nightmare over nothing, and so like for them, it's just like, you know what? It's worth us being like, look, everyone, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Hold on. Here's the facts.
Good, man. And I'm glad, because I don't really think we're there yet where people can be like, yeah, we're not gonna make any more consoles, blah blah blah. I'm glad they confirmed that they're fucking working on next gen hardware. They did slip in some weird shit though that people are like speculating on. If they were like they want their next console to be one of like the most powerful, like leagues ahead of anything that they've ever done. And I'm like, okay. So I'm wondering if we're ever gonna have an era. We're not. But I just wonder if we're ever gonna have an era again where consoles are bleeding edge. But it's impossible, because a console can be bleeding edge and still get outdated the next year, right? So I don't think we're ever gonna have that again.
that just gave me the thought. It's like, what if they do for the next generation what they did with this generation, but they just up the ante? So the Series S, Series X, right, of the next generation is going to be the lower tier is going to be the $500 console, and then the upper tier is going to be the $1,000 console, and it's just a beast, right?
I don't
like,
think
what if
so.
they do that?
Because at that point, why would you not get a PC for $1,000?
Yeah, for that they might as well just invest in their PC
I mean, well,
department
I'm just throwing out random price points, but they could alter
Anything
that, and it could be
above
like $800.
$500,
You know what I mean?
Anything above $500, you're in PC territory.
Yeah.
I don't know
exactly.
if they could ever do that again. Like back in the day, you could do that because there was no competition, right? But
Yeah.
if you tell somebody to spend $700, they're gonna be like, and then you have someone in their ear saying, "Well, why don't you just build a PC for $700?" And they're gonna be like, all right, you know what I mean? Like $500 is $400 is why consoles are what they are. It's because they're cheaper than an equivalent priced PC, right? I mean they're cheaper and they're more powerful than an equivalently priced PC for a year at least, right? I don't know. Consoles are in such a weird space, dude, where like a console will come out in like November and it's already outdated by the GPUs that just came out a month before. You know what I mean? Like what GPUs came out when the PS5, the 3080, the 3000 series came out when the PS5 dropped. And the 3000 series was leagues ahead of fucking PS5.
I mean, the 2070 Super is on par with the PS5.
Okay.
Yes,
then,
it's on par with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Like, as far as settings go, it's give or take a few games here and there, right? And you just think about it though. But like the 2070 Super, because I currently have one, that's why I could know that offhand.
Like that's wild to me.
Yeah. The 2070 Super was $530 around. That's how much I pay for mine. It was around like a $500 to $550 price point, right? Which is basically like, you know, you pay, what was it, $399 for a PS5, right? Like several years later. So it's like, I don't know.
I keep forgetting. What was the discless version cost? What did that cost again?
I think it was
$399?
It was like
it was $399, right? $399.
Yeah, it was $399.
I'm sorry, but you ain't beating that.
You can't.
Ain't nothing beating that.
But here's the thing, like let's say Microsoft, because they're Microsoft, right? They already have the insight on the CPU and all that kind of like the performance that's going to take place. So they can just say, hey, we're just going to drop our console and we're going to put it at a I threw it at $1,000. That's nuts. But let's say they actually put it at like $650 or the $700 competitive price point, where it's like, yeah, you could buy a 3080 at $600, right? But you still need to spend maybe $400 to $500 more to finish that PC to be able to match that GPU, right? Where you can buy this console, which will match a 3080, right, so to speak, and that's it. You have everything that you need in that box for $650, $700. You know what I mean?
Nah, that's still too much. You know what the answer is? The answer is, and it's always going to be this. It's always going to be, we need to have modular consoles that can be upgraded. Instead of having to buy an entirely new console every time, we need to be able to upgrade these things.
I have an idea.
And people are saying, the problem people always bring up is, nah, that's too much. People don't want to do that. But I'm pretty sure console owners would much rather get like a piece of equipment, like one thing that you can buy, plug it into your PS5 or some shit, and upgrade it, as opposed to upgrading every individual piece of a PC, right? Because that's always the argument. I don't want to go through all that, build a PC, have to deal with driver updates, crashing, blue screens, blah, blah, blah. You won't have to. Like, just let them, you know what I'm saying? Like, keep in mind, Nintendo did this years ago, 2 decades ago, remember the N64 had the fucking expansion pack?
Oh,
so why can't we do that again?
Especially if they make it dumb where you just pull out like a cartridge and you slide something back in.
I definitely
that's the
agree
answer.
with that. I think that definitely is the answer, though. However, I just feel like Microsoft, they're very proprietary and they'll price it wrong. I think that's where they're going to go wrong with it. Because I think that's definitely the way to go, because it's the ease of use, right? Like the whole thing about a console is like, I don't have to think about it. I plug it, I play it, I put it in my disc, it runs.
Just go work. Yep.
If there's something that crashes or doesn't work, it's not on my end. Yeah. It's on the server end, dev end, something they got to patch the game.
Don't have to go through hours of troubleshooting your own shit.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's the allure of consoles. So that's why I think people will pay a certain price point, because it's like, oh, I don't have to deal with it, and that's a peace of mind. But at the same time, like upgrading and doing like modular upgrades and things like that. Like look at that 1 terabyte, what was it, that 1 terabyte proprietary Seagate drive that Microsoft had for the Xbox Series X. That shit was outrageously priced, right? And it was because it was proprietary. Yes, it's storage as opposed to like upgrade for GPU, CPU type things, but who's to say that that won't be the same kind of issue that they have if they decide to go in that direction?
You know,
I mean, the thing is, even if it's my bad, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, but at that time, everyone was going Google Gaga about the what is it, the freaking
SSD speeds. Oh my god,
SSD speeds and things like that. So like that's why that was outrageously priced. But replace that with anything. You make a good point.
So here's the thing: if you market an actual console upgrade, it doesn't matter what the price is. People are gonna buy it. Like you can argue that extra storage is overpriced. Yeah, because that's not necessarily getting you something new. Yeah, it gives you more space to download your games and all that shit, right? But I'm pretty sure it will be easy to justify buying an actual like hardware upgrade than a storage device. Like Microsoft, you could probably get away with fucking charging half the price of the console for the thing. Like, I don't know, but then it's like, how much it depends on how much it would cost them to do that, right? To make that thing, like, so it would. Let's say the console, you buy the console, it's like $500, $600, right? The thing would have to be like $300 or $400 to upgrade later. It would have to be. And that's actually, I don't think that's bad. I think I would buy that in an instant.
Every 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, I would absolutely buy that even every 2 years. I'd buy that shit. If it meant that consoles could keep up with PCs again, right? I really like, I'm on my PS5 right now, and I love the thing, but I'm not playing any game that I can't get on PC.
Yeah.
So that's always the problem, right? When I know the consoles are more powerful, like when the PS5 first came out, I didn't have a 3080 yet. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna play everything on PS5 because it's more powerful than the current hardware that I have. As soon as I got a 3080, I switched right back. Yeah. So, that's been how many years? 4 years? 3 years?
I don't even. Half of the life cycle of the PS5, it says, has been done. Like the life cycle is half over. That was the recent announcement.
I don't know.
From Sony.
And we know PS5 Pro is coming. So, I mean, to be fair, I guess the mid-gen refresh that they've been doing has been okay. But I feel like they need to. I don't think 4 years. I think they should cut it down to like 2 or 3. And I know people will argue, I don't want to buy a console every 2, 3 years. Well, get with the times. People are buying every other piece of tech every year. So,
I mean, back in the day, it was literally every 4 years, especially in those beginning generations.
Yeah, if you could buy a phone every year, or every 2 years, you can buy a console for half the price.
Honestly, though, I don't disagree with that. I think the issue lies in building the cost of building a console, because Sony is always taking a loss on the PlayStation, right, until the technology catches up. Microsoft is the same, because they don't give a shit, because if you're gaming on a Microsoft console, whether it's PC or an Xbox, you're gaming Microsoft, right? Like the consoles have always been notoriously at a loss because of the tech trying to catch up with the times, and then they're catching up with software sales versus the hardware sales, and then at some point mid-generation it flops, right? Or flips, I should say, not flops. And then they're making money off of each sale, as opposed, because it's cheaper, right, to make a smaller console, and then they make the slim iterations and stuff like that, right? But I do agree, because Despair, you mentioned this before, and it goes like episodes backwards, like, well, phones are $1,000 each, and people buy one every year, right? Yep. And I think that the ease of people being able to, because there's the people who just buy a phone outright because they have the disposable income to just be like, I'm just going to buy a new phone and then sell my old one, and whatever I make on my old one, I'll just use that to supplement whatever I didn't get in buying a new one, right? With consoles, there's the people who don't do that, but there's also the people who don't do that with like phones, right? Where it's like they lease their phones, like they lease, when they lease their phones,
Xbox
they
can trade up at the generation too.
They can trade up, but they're on a contract payment, like with Sprint or T-Mobile throughout the years. Yeah, and Xbox had it.
That's a couple extra on your bill or some shit, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but that makes it that makes
Yeah.
it easy to upgrade every year. I think
Like,
Xbox
Xbox,
had
didn't they
a
start
good
that?
point with that. Yes,
Didn't
with
they
they
do
had a
that in the
finance. They
beginning?
had a
Yeah.
finance with GameStop. It was
Remember
partnered
what
with
I said?
GameStop.
I feel like they're doing things that are slowly easing people towards a future where we're gonna have stuff like that. Stuff like that is the
Yeah.
norm.
And
So-
I think that's the only way to do it. As far as like the cost of consoles, I think the only way to be able to make, to be able to, for it to be a profitable, successful business model is to have it be a lease, and then next year you upgrade, or next 2 years you upgrade, kind of thing.
So I'm the kind of person, right? I understand, like, don't get me wrong, I understand not everyone thinks the same, but not everyone is gonna think the same. But I've always been of the mindset where if I want it, I'm going to get it, right? Whether I get it at launch, whether I get it a year later, whether I get it 2 years later, I'm gonna get the console eventually, right? So I wouldn't mind if they just bumped up the price of the consoles, bro, to keep it, I don't want to say future proof, but if it's gonna be more powerful at launch and it at least last 2-3 years until they either give you the option to upgrade or have like a mid-gen refresh, I would be okay with the prices of consoles going up a couple $100, bro. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
Well, you know, it's also a
especially when
different
they
time.
last
Like
5-6 years.
the
Yeah, but-
gaming generation of players have grown up, right? Most of these guys are, you know, in their 30s, 40s, have kids and
Yeah,
whatever.
maybe I'm
like, they
speaking
grew-
as an adult now, as
Yeah,
opposed to
yeah.
20 years
It would-
ago. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
whereas before, you know, the spare of you 15, you gotta make some tough choices.
Yeah.
You know, at least I needed to when I was
Yeah.
young, right? Like I had to choose which console I wanted first.
Yeah.
Or, you know, with the idea of like, hopefully, maybe someday I can get the other ones
Yeah.
and I complete the collection.
But also,
But,
technology is moving super fast now, because if you look at like the console generations, the consoles always used to be when they used to drop, they would be like kind of like a step up to what was available on
Yeah,
PC
they would
at
push
the
it
time.
forward.
Yeah, and then PC would obviously be waiting for their next update, right? It used to be like a leapfrog kind of thing where it would, and now it's not even close to that. Consoles are always behind now. I mean, if you think about the next series of cards, right? Like if we're talking about like the 4000 series, and now we're gonna have the 5000 series coming out next year. If any consoles
It's
drop,
gonna
they
be 3,000.
need to be
It's gonna be 3 generations ahead.
yeah, 3 generations ahead of consoles. Where before it used
That's
to kind of
wild.
be a leapfrog, and now we just don't have that anymore. That's what makes consoles less appealing to me as an adult, right? Like it's like I'm still on par with consoles now, and I haven't upgraded my GPU for the past 5
Yeah.
years. You know?
Yeah. That's why as the generation goes on, it becomes cheaper and cheaper to build a PC that is equivalent to a console for $400
Yes.
or $500.
Yeah, and ultimately, I do think Sony and Microsoft, well, all console people need to solve this problem. And the answer is, it really is cloud gaming. The issue is most places don't have the infrastructure to enforce cloud gaming, where, you know, like not all
It's going to
areas are
start as one of those
treated
very niche
equally.
things, right? It's going to start
Yep.
as only people in certain areas are going to be able to do it. And I feel like they're afraid to do that, but Microsoft, if anybody can do it, it's Microsoft, right? And I want them to push that like harder, because man, I don't have a problem with buying consoles, but like you said, like as soon as I built my first PC, bro, that allure, that fucking, you know what I'm saying, that magic of consoles is just gone, bro.
It's gone.
Like whenever
Yeah.
consoles used to launch, I used to be like, oh shit, gotta pre-order instantly. I mean, I still will because I want it, but it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. It's
Yeah,
I just
you
want
know,
something different from these consoles, man. I want something.
I haven't felt
Hmm?
I haven't felt console attachment probably since PS2, maybe PS3 era.
PS3 360 generation was the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That was the last time, because like for PS4, I bought a PS4, but it was like, you know,
PS4 generation was when the PC market started, when PC started becoming, you know, more popular. So
exactly. So you know, it just really speaks a lot, and yeah, I completely agree with that mindset. Because their goal, I believe Microsoft wants to take kind of like the Netflix route. Every screen, they want an opportunity for you to play the Game Pass and everything that they want, and it's a great idea. It's just the way of enforcing it, you know. Like I don't know, you know, unless they're gonna talk to their other buddies who own the internet and be like, look, I'm gonna need you guys to fucking upgrade this shit.
yeah,
Put everyone on fiber, put everyone on this, because
what are the
look,
odds
man,
that's gonna
we
happen? What are the
Well,
odds?
if anyone could bully anyone, it's a
True, Microsoft.
big ass company that bully the other companies. You know what I'm saying? They all lunch together. They all lunch and dine together.
True.
So
Then we're gonna get cloud gaming, and then it's gonna be like Netflix all over again. We're gonna have 80 billion cloud gaming apps.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to pick which one we subscribe to. It's gonna be Sony, it's gonna be Microsoft, it's gonna be Nintendo. It's gonna be some random motherfuckers that come through. Like Verizon.
A Verizon
Imagine.
console. Yeah.
Oh no. Ew, all right,
and
never
then
mind.
and then all that, right? All the generations of that, just to go back to like some futuristic console age.
Verizon, LG, Samsung, all the major cell phone, they're just gonna build consoles, right? Because why not? You're already in the mobile space with cell phones. If you can run the same software, right, and get a contract, just do it. Oh man.
I just want that magic again, bro. And we're not
I
gonna
don't
get
know
it,
if
but
that magic is ever coming back.
I don't
to
think
be honest.
it's not coming back. It's not.
oh.
The only way it would be, like, to be honest, they would just have to release a $2,000 console.
Yeah.
That's literally what it would
And I'd
take
be
for
with it.
them to be. I mean,
Like-
I'm with it, but majority of people.
the majority, you gotta, yeah. Obviously, the majority is not gonna fuck with that.
You'll have to have a lower entry, obviously, right? Like it's like the same thing they have Series
Bro,
X, Series
I just
S.
realized.
They could just
Bro.
make them more separate.
So we forget to think about stuff like this. Well, I forget, but we always think about the top of the line iPhone, right? We always think about the top of the line like Samsung device. I'm just bringing those two up because those are the two like
Yeah.
major fucking things, right? But even those companies have the lower tiered phones, the lower tiered models, right? You have other options. You have other Android options to choose from, like the Chinese cell phone manufacturers, all those motherfuckers. There's a lot of shit in this cell phone industry, right? And it's like, that is true. We could just have a lower tier console. Like, wait a minute. Hello, Microsoft is already doing this. Where
Have a Series S.
I don't know, man. Like all this stuff that Microsoft has been doing, I feel like it's just easing us into this new way of thinking about consoles, man. And I really hope that they do it again next generation, where people will complain about how it's the lower tier one is going to hold the generation back. I don't give a fuck. Like, if that means that the high tier one they can put a bunch of money into and make it godlike, then whatever, man.
Honestly, it's bullshit because it's just all goes back to it just being PC gaming, bro. Because PC games are released to be able to run on what is it, like a 1660?
Yeah.
Right? Like a 1660 is basically
Run
like
is
run, exactly.
In quotation
But, like,
marks.
But that's the thing,
It
like
exists.
people
Yeah.
need to get used to that performance though. If you're buying that tier of device, then you have to get used to that tier of performance for that to be able to work. Because honestly, it's just like, if you look at the Steam, I think the most popular GPU on Steam now, or the most frequent, is I think it's actually the 3060 Ti now. I think it
not
finally
surprised.
jumped from like it was like
always
the
the 60s card.
1060 for the longest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the 60 cards because of the cheapest barrier to entry, and now
Yep.
it's the 1360 Ti or the 3060 Ti, I should say. And yeah, I think like if you're thinking about like things holding things back, like PC never has that issue. No one ever complains about it because it's the have and the have-nots.
Yeah.
And it should be the same thing with consoles, right? So devs, you know what pushed that agenda? It was devs saying that, oh, the Series S is holding back games. No, because you make PC games be able to run at a lower GPU setting anyway. So like, get the fuck out of here with that. Like, stop that.
Yeah.
Stop being lazy. Cut it out. If you have to run a game on the Switch, which is lower power than the Series S, right? Like, come on. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
I just want the PS5 Pro already, man. I'm not even gonna lie. Cause you know what game is coming out? That Black Myth Wukong game gonna come out, and that shit gonna tear PS5s up. Good luck to you motherfuckers
Oh,
playing that shit on
man.
consoles. Good luck.
15 FPS.
Yeah, good
what I
luck.
want.
I don't know how that's
is
gonna run
the
on consoles, bro.
games, man. What I want is the
Can't wait to play that shit on
ultimately.
PC.
Doesn't matter what you
I mean-
run it on.
Yeah.
Give us the games.
Yeah.
Well, but going back to the Microsoft announcement, just to summarize it, Phil Spencer said that 4 games are going to other consoles. They didn't name the games. They said not Indiana Jones, not Starfield. They said they didn't want to name the games because I think the studios are going to make the announcements. But I think since that announcement, it's been heavily hinted at is going to be Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves.
Good choices.
But aside from that, the other two are still unknown. But Phil Spencer said they're over a year old, community driven, 2 smaller games. Long and one thing that Phil Spencer said that I kind of really like. Oh yeah, Grounded actually. And one thing that Phil Spencer said that I liked. Right, I feel like Phil Spencer's very likable because I feel like he kind of just knows what to say as far as that approaches like gamers and what they're thinking about.
Don Matrick. Motherfucker.
So he said that he's like, hey guys, we're focused on the long-term health of the Xbox. We're keeping that in mind. We don't want to damage the Xbox, like the branding, and I think it's really important that needed to be said because all of these fanboys were just kind of like. Yeah, the fanboys were just kind of like, oh man, woo, Xbox, man, what I'm supposed to fight for y'all. No, just enjoy what's happening because ultimately it's just gonna continue to build the health of the community.
That branding is fucked. Which is why I'm glad they came out and said some shit because it was gonna get even more fucked.
Oh
with
yeah,
the shit people were saying.
If they did not respond to like this thing would have been.
Yeah, they needed to respond, and they did.
They needed to. Yeah.
With that being said, though, I think we can move on to the next topic of Sony saying that they also want to grow PlayStation games on the PC. Hiroki Toki said that PC ports, for example, all of the PC ports that they've been having are really growing the PlayStation brand on PC. Oh,
yeah,
no shit.
Wow, really?
Wow.
Jeez. Tell me more.
Wow.
Give me more data. Gee, I could take Spider-Man 2 Final Fantasy right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they need to close down on the release. I think it may be a development issue, right? Where it's just like, but if your intention is to release a game day and date PC, you could absolutely do it, right?
Everyone else does it.
Yeah, it just depends on like I think they're just continuing to grow that because of the Sony exclusivity.
Yeah, people don't realize that. I feel like there is crossover, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course they want to keep it timed exclusive because they want people to buy a PlayStation. But I don't know, man. That shit kind of gets old. Like if it's a Sony published game, you making money anyway, bro. Like. People, I feel like with Helldivers 2, right? That game came out, everyone's buying it.
Perfect example.
Whether it's PC, PS5, whatever, it did really well on PC. That's still money in your pocket, right?
Well,
so,
yes.
I don't know.
But before we get deeper into this topic, I think what we need to talk about is what is the appropriate length of time that you think people are going to double dip? Ultimately, because that's where all the sales come from, right? Is people that have already bought the game and they're like, oh, well, my PC will run this game way better now, so I'm just buying it again, right?
I think it's probably in a minority, but I'm definitely one of them because I don't give a fuck if it's 6 months. Like I'll buy it on PC. Like remember Monster Hunter World came out in January, and the PC version came out in like August or something like that, and I bought both because I was like, ain't no fucking way, especially if it runs better. Like,
but.
Go ahead, Paul.
I guess there needs to be a period of time because if they were released at the same time, then I would just buy the PC version.
Yes.
And I wouldn't even fuck.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
But,
like day and date
into the generation. If people are still waiting on a PS5, they're gonna continue to wait on a PS5 unless there's some crazy reason to buy one.
Well,
if they've waited 4 years to buy a PS5, then I don't know if it really makes a difference.
Yeah.
Like.
But what I'm saying is, like, let's say you have both, right? If a game releases day and date. If my PC runs it better, I'm buying it on PC, right?
Of course.
If it reaches a point where it's going to run better on the PS5, I'm going to buy it on PS5. But I'm not going to double dip, so to speak. I think, though, if they drop it Sony first, and then to me, a sweet spot would be like 3 months.
Nah, I think it had to be like half a year. It had to be
You
like
think so? You think it's 6 months?
Yep.
Yes.
6 months.
Because why would I not wait 3 months?
I don't know, man.
Like
that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
A long time.
I agree. I feel like a year is too long, but it still works.
Unless it's a multiplayer game like Monster Hunter. The only reason I bought it on console is because all my friends were playing it on console. Else I would have waited until August. But I don't know. Like I said, I feel like the people that double dip are in the minority, but I also feel like it's two separate platforms where I wouldn't need numbers on this, but I don't feel like there's much. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover, but I don't think it's as much as we think. I feel like the people that are gonna buy something on PC are gonna buy it on PC anyway, but they have to wait a day, a year, 2 years. They're gonna buy it on PC. They're gonna be like, I'm just gonna wait for the PC version. I'm not buying a PS5. Like, so I think Microsoft realized that, right? And I feel like Sony, I don't know, man. Sony's so caught up. Sony's still like living in like a decade ago, where like these exclusives are, yeah, we're gonna hammer down, get this exclusive so everybody buys our shit. If people want a PlayStation, they're gonna buy PlayStation regardless. We know this now because the majority of PlayStation owners are playing what? Call of Duty,
Nothing.
2K. They're not playing the exclusives. They're playing the multi-platform games, right? That they can easily play on PC, but they're not. So I don't know if the crossover, if there's that big of a crossover between PC and console yet. I don't know.
I think we definitely need numbers.
Yeah.
Or like if they're really that concerned, nah, this is a bad. Fuck, I'm just gonna say it. Why don't you just like give me one bigger prize, say like $100, let's just say, but then you can play it on
you get both.
PS5 and you get both. Yeah.
Oh, actually.
Yeah. But I'm trying to
That
think,
worked.
right?
That worked a lot for what was it? Like was it like PS4 Vita
PS4,
or like
PS5
PS3 PSP shit?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
that's
and
cool.
PS4 PS5. Like when they do shit like that, like I don't know the sales numbers, but to me as a consumer, I really like that, and I'd be more likely to do that. Right?
Here's my thing. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. But my whole issue is if, let's say there is a bunch of crossover between console and PC, there are certain games that you know for a fact are system sellers, right? Like FF7 Rebirth, you know for a fact that there are people that are gonna go out and buy PS5s just for that game, right? Because there's no PC version in sight. Maybe a year from now or a year and a half from now we'll get that, right? But there are people that are gonna buy it. I'm sure there are plenty of people that bought a PS5 for FF16. Like, personally, I don't think Horizon was a big console seller, right? I could be wrong. I don't think
it was.
Ratchet and Clank sold well, but I don't think it's a system seller. Demon Souls, I think, was a system seller. It was for me. But there's not many games that Sony has. Maybe The Last of Us and Uncharted, right? Whatever. I don't want to talk about those. But like, I don't think. Yeah, but wasn't Ragnarok on PS4?
Yes, it was. Wait,
Yeah, so
was it? I don't.
Hey, Ragnarok?
I don't remember. I don't
pretty
think
sure
so.
it was just on 5.
Nope. 4 and 5.
It was 4.
I'm pretty sure
Okay.
Ragnarok was on PS4.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so was Horizon. So like,
And
I don't know,
Ragnarok
man.
performed great on both. I don't know.
yeah. So when it comes to the games like FF, I understand. But all the other games, how long did it take Returnal to come to PC after PS4? Was that
About
like a year?
I think it was about a year.
No,
yeah. I
8
think
months.
they've all
No,
been a year.
probably like 8 months.
That one was
Really?
probably the fastest, right? I think Returnal
Yeah,
was probably
Returnal
the
came out
fastest.
Yeah, it came out
We
pretty
can
fast
check,
actually.
because if we talk about all of the
see.
PlayStation games to PC ports, it's been Spider-Man Remastered, Miles Morales, what is it? Days Gone,
It was
Last
a
of
little
Us
less than a year.
Remaster,
It was like 10 months.
Returnal, Ratchet and Clank. All of those games, it's been about a year, right? Like,
But all of those games are not system sellers. You know what I mean?
I agree. They're not killer apps.
It's so weird to say because that's subjective, right?
Yeah,
Right.
because Ratchet and Clank could have been a killer app for somebody, right?
Yeah, like I bought a PS5 because of Demon Souls.
Demon
I knew
Souls,
Ratchet and
yeah.
Clank was coming, and I knew I don't remember what the fuck else it was, but those two games sold me on a PS5. But I'm pretty sure there's millions of people that don't give a fuck about either one of those. Or Spider-Man makes sense, right? That's Spider-Man so like fucking mainstream that's a console seller, right?
At least.
Yeah. But when it
Spider-Man
comes to games
2
like
definitely probably
FF7
sold some
Remake, bro,
consoles.
you know that's a fucking, especially in Japan, they're gonna eat that shit the fuck up, right?
Of course.
So
Bundle that shit off rip, you know.
But then again, that's up to Sony, right? Like I don't know the numbers. That's up to Sony to determine whether or not a game that they put out deserves to be on PC day and date, or 6 months later, or a year. Because I'm sure they knew that Helldivers wasn't gonna be a console seller, so they just put it on PC day and date, right? They know no one's gonna care to buy a PS5 for Helldivers 2. You know what I'm saying?
No,
They're not losing out on console sales for Helldivers 2. So I feel like that's their approach, and that's probably gonna be their approach moving forward. Like there's smaller games, especially 4 years in. There's smaller games that are gonna probably come out. Hopefully with the news and that statement they made, I feel like maybe 6 months is probably what they're gonna do. 6 months, 8 months. Returnal was what, 10?
It's gonna be a year. It's gonna be a year. It's gonna be a year.
I don't know. I mean, a year is still.
I don't
better
want
than
it
a
to
lot of other
be.
shit.
I mean,
Like,
I don't want it to be, right? Because it's just now I'm just salty waiting for the game, right? I feel like
Yeah.
a year makes me salty. 6
I don't
months,
know.
I could do 6 months.
I feel like if I don't buy a console, then I don't have the right to be salty because I could have just bought it. Like, just buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but
If-
the thing is,
if
like,
it's gonna
I don't
make you
want to
salty,
just
then
buy
just
it
buy it.
just to. Yeah, but I don't want to just
Then you
buy a
can't get
console
salty
just
then.
for. But the thing is, it's like if there was a slew of games that I wanted to play, I would definitely buy it and not have zero regrets. But if I'm gonna buy this just for this one game, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like nowadays there just need to be a blanket of good, like,
yeah.
like
I
it
don't
can't just be one game. I don't think anything is tied to just one game when
Yeah,
you
that's
do it,
subjective.
and then it's just like.
I
To
bought an
me,
Xbox
you
for
know,
Halo 5.
and the only exception is maybe that Hideo Kojima freaking Metal Gear game that he's gonna release in 2030.
Yeah.
That one, because every time I bought a PS3, it was because of a Metal Gear game.
Yeah, so it's
100%.
subjective. Like, it doesn't. The game that makes you buy a console is just different for you. Like, I'm sure, like, if it was me and FF7 came out and I didn't have a PS5, I would buy it just for that and not give a fuck about anything else. So that's just subjective. But I wouldn't be mad, right? I'd just be like, well, I gotta wait. I either gotta buy it or I gotta wait. That's it.
I mean, I don't
But-
mind waiting, but
Yeah.
fucking don't make me wait 80 years.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I don't know. A year makes me salty. Like,
I think this has been a growing issue where it just gets so costly to make a game and to take a chance on a game, right?
Mhm.
So if you think about the games that used to drop when the PlayStation launched, there used to be a bunch of titles where they would just take a chance on, and it's just like it's too costly now for these games.
Let's be
right? Like,
real. There weren't many consoles that I feel like the consoles that had good launch lineups are in the minority. Like,
yeah, true. I agree.
I don't know, and like I said, that's subjective too, right? Because I personally don't think I enjoyed the GameCube launch games, but that wasn't a great launch. I enjoyed, obviously, the first thing I think of is N64 because Mario 64 was that game, right?
that was that.
Like,
yeah, it's
Mario
probably one of the
64
best
was that
launch
game.
titles
I don't
of
think
all
anything
time.
got
Like-
better than Mario 64, to be honest.
Like PS2, only launch games I remember on PS2 was like Dead or Alive, Hardcore,
Ugh, Dark Cloud.
Dark Cloud. What else did I get at launch? I don't even remember, bro. I don't even remember. Xbox, Halo, right? The only good launches I can remember, the 360 had a great launch.
The
right?
360 definitely had a great
Like,
launch. They had Gears of War.
I don't know. Like, I feel like, yeah, the consoles that had good launch lineups are definitely in the minority. So I feel like that's
They
subjective
took
too.
chances. They took chances on some games too, though, because like PS4 came out and everyone likes to meme, but like Knack, like a game like Knack,
No.
right? Like how much did a game like Knack take to develop? You know what I mean?
yeah, I'm sure it didn't cost that much, to be honest,
I don't
because
know.
that
We
game was
don't know.
ass. Like,
Listen, there's some
technology-wise,
there's some
that game
people
was
who
like a
like
tech
Knack
demo.
out there, bro.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like I said, that's why I think it's subjective, because what you think is a good launch lineup, I don't think is a good launch lineup.
Exactly,
And I
yeah.
definitely don't. And PS4 had one of the worst launch lineups,
But-
period.
Yeah.
Yes, but
Like-
but then there's also like there's the launch titles,
sucked.
but then there's also the games that came out 3 to 6 months post launch.
And it still sucked.
Some games, no, I'm just saying some consoles had stronger releases
Launch
in
windows,
that time frame.
yeah.
Yeah, the launch windows, because the
PS5
Switch
had
Switch
the
didn't have
best Sony
shit
launch.
on launch,
The
but
PS5
it had a
the
good.
best launch window since PS2, I believe. So I don't know. That's
I don't
not saying
remember
much.
the PS3. I don't remember the PS3 launch.
Exactly.
I don't. PS4 I remember because I remember.
I don't even think.
mine.
Did it even launch with Uncharted 1? I don't think so.
No, hell no. That came out like way later.
No.
Heavenly
Exactly.
Sword was a launch title.
Heavenly Sword.
Yeah.
Panzer Dragoon.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh, but that shit threw me for a loop. But like the Switch also had like not a lackluster launch.
No. That's false as fuck. Because it doesn't matter. Because the Switch had Mario Kart, so that does not count. It does not matter. Look, I'm sorry. I know it was a Wii U game, but
that's what
Mario Kart is such a beast that it doesn't matter. Like, because how many people that bought a Switch that never got a Wii U ever? So basically, Mario Kart
that's true.
was basically a brand new game.
That's true, but that's
right?
what I mean. Like those retail launches versus like games that came out.
Was godlike at launch.
Oh, I loved Arms.
Fucking
I bought it.
Everybody was playing
But
1-2 Switch.
Arms didn't come out at
like,
launch.
It came out like the next month.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It was
Though.
a
Like
month.
that's not like
that's
launch. When I say launch titles, I'm talking about like day and date. Like
Bro, a
the game,
month later
the
is
system
launch.
comes out. I don't know
Like,
about that.
If you want to talk a launch window, that's like Mario Odyssey, which came out later in the year.
That's what I
right.
mean. Yeah.
But a month, bruh, I don't know. And hello, it launched with Zelda and it launched with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Zelda
Come
was
on, bro.
also on.
It doesn't matter because
Wii
no
U.
one.
I know,
you're
but
not-
that's what I'm saying.
that's
I'm
not a
talking
good
about like
comparison to make.
they're not. Yeah, the Switch is not a great comparison. That's what I say. Like, but like as far as like Switch
Because everyone bought a
exclusive
PS3
titles, you know what I mean?
PS4, right? Everyone
Yeah.
bought a 360 before Xbox One.
Yeah,
No one bought a
yeah,
Wii U, so that
No one
console
bought a
didn't even
Wii U.
exist basically.
That's
Switch
that's
was
what
the Wii U.
started it. Yeah.
Like, but that's hard, man. Because that is so rough. Because even the launch window games are enough, like you said, to get people on board,
but
right?
let's say you're a Wii U owner and the Switch is
Mm-hmm.
coming out and you see these launch titles and you're like, I'm not buying that shit yet.
No one is
Because
gonna
I own
say
it.
that. I don't think so. I don't think so, bro. Because the Wii U was, I don't know. For me personally, this is just me. The Wii U had this aura, right, of a flop. It was a
Of
flop,
course.
obviously, but it had this aura of something that you knew they were trying to rush out. As soon as they announced the Switch, you knew they were trying to just completely erase the Wii U from existence.
Yes,
right?
true. 'Cause
So
based
everybody
on
on Wii U
the
knew
games.
that this was the end. Just time to buy a Switch. Like,
Yeah, but to be real though, if I had bought a Wii U, I would have been mad super salty about the Switch. That's probably because like I just bought a fucking console.
I don't know.
And then you're gonna buy something like super similar, like I don't know. And
It's,
like
I
it
think
wasn't
it's
even
highly. I think it's highly.
you know
highly
the
subjective,
upgrade
right?
from the
Yeah, it is
well,
because
to
I
me,
bought a Wii U at
to-
launch. Like,
in
Yeah.
my perspective, I feel like the technical advances from the Wii U to the Switch wasn't that much to me, other than the portability of it.
yeah,
So,
but I
like,
feel
for-
like everyone knew that. That's why I mentioned that aura of floppery,
Yeah, no,
right?
no, because I'm playing
Like-
devil's advocate because I bought a Switch and everyone was like complaining about like, oh, it's lackluster in launch titles, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I never played any of these games,
no
right?
one ever played anything on the Wii U.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
Look,
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just
And
saying
you
like,
also have to think about the Switch, right? The Switch didn't just launch with Wii U games. Like the Switch,
No.
when they announced it, they showed Mario Odyssey, they showed Xenoblade, they showed
Yeah.
ARMS, they showed Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Then the next few months later, they showed like Smash. You know what I'm saying? They
showed
shit.
games that were coming
Like,
down the pipe
that
in
were
that
not gonna
same
be on
that
Wii
were
U.
in that same
Like,
year. Yeah,
So they
for
were
sure.
basically telling you the Wii U is done. Like, sorry. Like, and
Yeah.
everyone that bought a Wii U, we knew that already. Like, as soon as like we had like a whole year where we didn't get shit. Like we knew that shit was over.
Oh shit.
Like,
The way Nintendo treated the Wii U
was right. I mean, they was justified. It flopped. It was trash. Like if something you made is trash and it's not selling, you gotta recoup. You have to make a console ASAP, right?
Yeah.
They had to do that. Like, so anybody, I feel like any intelligent human being wouldn't be mad at that. If you don't know what's going on, like let's say you're completely detached from the internet, right? And you bought a
but
Wii U.
people
you
are
went to the
completely
GameStop.
detached. Yeah, absolutely.
Nowadays, no, you're right. Nowadays, not a lot of people are, but you are right. But the thing is, if you are in the know, like, you know that it was a smart move that they made. you can't sit here, you can't own a Wii U and be like, and actually, if you are detached from the internet, then just keep your Wii U and keep playing your Wii U games then. What the fuck? Like,
Well,
hello?
the thing is, I ran out of Wii U games to fucking buy.
Well,
Bro.
then buy the Switch. Like,
If you're a Wii U owner right now, you're looking at the PlayStation Portal and you're like, see, the Wii U was a good idea.
no, I'm not. The Wii U sucked. You ain't never gonna get me to say that
Nah,
Wii U was good.
I'm trying to be
didn't hate
nice.
the Wii U.
I'll be devil's advocate because I loved fucking Mario 3D World. I liked Smash 4, right? I liked
Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. I liked the Twilight. I'm not Twilight Princess. Was it Twilight Princess HD? Yeah. No, Wind Waker.
I think
The Wind
so.
Waker. The Wind
Wind Waker
Waker
HD?
remake I thought was dope. Xenoblade Chronicles X was dope. Bayonetta 2 was dope. You know what I'm saying? So I don't regret buying it.
No,
But
yeah.
that console was shit. I like Pikmin 3. Right?
Well, 'cause
Monster Hunter
they-
3 Ultimate. Bruh,
They
like,
they
that shit has some-
marketed it like shit too, because it was
They
really
absolutely
it was a Wii HD with a gamepad, right?
Mhm.
Like that's
Yep.
essentially what it was.
Fisher
And
Price
they
gamepad.
marketed it like shit. And as a result,
Oh.
like even I will not say like it's like a, because it's not like a
No, that
bad
shit was
console.
garbage.
It was a good
No,
like
yes, it
upgrade.
is. No, listen.
It's a
that
because the
console
thing
is
is
garbage.
because I'm not even looking at it as like this is like if you look at PS3 to PS4, I would look at it more as like a PS4 to PS4 Pro.
No.
Like it's like here's a Wii Pro, like a Wii Pro, right?
Nah,
I don't think so
know.
because here's the thing, and this is why I'm looking at my Switch right now, and the Switch is what they wanted the Wii U to be. Period. You can tell
Yeah.
that this is what they were trying to do with the Wii U.
Yeah.
But that Wii branding did so well for them. The Wii did so well for them that they had to kind of keep it. They thought that keeping it similar was a safe bet. Now,
Yeah, but that was their mistake though. Like,
now, let's say, what if they called it something else? You think that they called it Wii 2?
we
You
too.
think that they called it something
Like,
else?
just even saying it is so
no.
stupid,
They
right?
should have called it Wee Wee.
Shut the fuck up. I mean, Wii sounds just as dumb as Wii U. So, because I'm thinking Wii U is such a stupid name, bro.
We
right?
play.
And people looked at it as a attachment. Like they saw the gamepad and they thought, oh, I could just buy the gamepad. It's an attachment for the Wii U or something.
Yeah.
Right?
They fucked up
Yeah.
completely with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You could
Well-
could just tell that the Switch is what they really. That's probably what they had in the back of their head, but they
Well,
fucked it up.
Well, not only that, but they had zero third-party support. So while they didn't,
they tried. They tried to at the beginning
They
because
really
remember they
tried.
had COD, they had
They
Mass
had COD.
Effect, they had hella shit. They had all the NBA shit. They had a lot of third-party shit at launch. But the problem with that thing was it launched. Like, didn't it launch before PS4 and Xbox One?
Yes, it did.
It launched a year before, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
And then it was stuck in like this spot where it's like, oh, this is still a last gen console, right? Because the Wii U was basically a glorified PS3 360, right? So
Yeah,
that was the problem.
It's like Sony still
Like-
making PS2 games when they're developing PS3 games, kind of thing.
Was
where
it
it's just like,
2011?
No, 2012. Wii U released November 18, 2012, while the PS4 and
2013?
the Xbox One launched 2013. Roughly,
Okay, yeah.
like in short order.
Yeah.
You see how silly that is? That was so silly.
their time,
You
their
see-
their whole
they
approach
basically
was
launched a last gen
terrible.
console when next gen consoles were coming out. What?
Eh,
That's
yeah.
crazy if you think back in hindsight. They were cocky as fuck for that. Wow.
I think
They thought the Wii was gonna they thought that Wii name was gonna fucking do
Carry
wonders for them
it was gonna
again.
carry this shit.
Nah, man. Like, I love Nintendo. Y'all know I'm probably the biggest Nintendo shill, but that shit was garbage.
Their back
Like-
broke. And
Yeah.
spinal.
Like,
They got caught lacking.
they definitely got caught liking. I don't know. But
I mean, you guys remember I bought my Switch begrudgingly.
yeah,
But
Like,
in,
when everybody has it, you know?
hindsight, but in hindsight, it was the best investment I ever made. Like, to be honest, I was more happy getting that over the PS5.
you just like being that guy that sits on the side and be like, man, I don't want that shit.
No,
Like-
man, because like to me, it was just super gangster Nintendo. Like, because I just didn't felt like the Switch was such a technological jump. And remember,
Yeah, but
I
it's
grew up
supposed
in
to
the
be.
age of.
Yeah,
I grew up in
know
an
what you're
age
going-
where
yeah.
shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
so
an
for
upgrade
me,
is
it's just
supposed
like,
to be like, I get
yeah.
what you mean.
So for me, it was just like, what the fuck is this shit? like, like, so
Well,
you know,
The way that I guess they wanted us to think about it was, this was them saying sorry for the Wii U, right?
Yeah.
This was their man. We know the Wii U sucked, man, but here's our vision. Here's what we really wanted to do. Hope you guys buy this shit, right?
Yeah,
And luckily, it worked out for them.
I like the
Yeah.
idea of the Switch off rip. When I saw
Yeah, me
that
too.
first trailer, I said,
I
"Wow,
just pulled
this
that in the dock,
might."
and I was like, damn, this is cool.
I was like, "This might actually be a game changer," and it was. You know, in retrospect, it absolutely was, because now we have the handheld PC market and all kinds of shit going on. You know.
you want to say who won the console war that generation? I mean, the Switch is
Oh, the
Well,
Switch
definitely in that
you know what's really
conversation.
weird about that, right? Remember the Wii? Remember how like no one even talked about the Wii in comparison
Yeah,
to like
you're right.
PS3 360? But
You're right, yeah.
but
But it sold
keep
the
in mind
most?
it was the biggest juggernaut. Yeah, like that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm over here playing Zelda. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. It's crazy how Nintendo just carves out their own shit.
hmm And that's why they go about things in their own way. And then
Speaking of
let's see
console
what they do with the
sellers,
Switch too. Yeah.
Can Sony and Microsoft just take those from Nintendo again, like they did in the past? Because you know Nintendo is clearly the biggest. It was the biggest inspiration for these motherfuckers, and then they got their heads up their asses, all right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they end up copying everything Nintendo does. The directs, the blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo was actually ahead of that shit. Surprisingly.
this is going on a tangent,
Nintendo
but
killed
Yeah.
imagine if Nintendo, their next console, we all know it's not going to be that much more powerful than whatever, but imagine if it's on par with like an Xbox Series S or fucking mid-range PC, maybe equivalent to slightly less powerful than a PS5 and whatever. Could you imagine how godlike that would be? Like, I know it's 4 years in. I know it's kind of late, but that would still be insane for a
No.
Nintendo console, bro.
Absolutely. If they drop the
Yeah.
Switch 2 and that shit is
Could you
beyond
that
what
shit
the
is gonna-
Steam Deck can do right now,
Damn.
that shit'll
Could
it's
you
gonna
fucking
explode.
Imagine.
And it's very likely because they like what here's the smart thing about Nintendo is that they've been partnering as far as the Switch goes with Nvidia,
Yeah.
where the consoles are AMD, right? Like,
Mhm.
I hate to be the person that fuels that kind of PC space, but ultimately, like Nvidia, there's a reason why they're charging outrageous prices for their GPUs as opposed to AMD, right? Like, it's just they're that much ahead of the curve and better as far as things go,
The
right? Like,
interesting part about that is what the fuck are they gonna name it? Because I guarantee they're gonna call it the Switch U.
they're gonna call it the Switch 2, I'm
The-
sure.
They're gonna call
Oh,
it
man.
the
I don't think
the
it's gonna be
Switchy
called the
Switch.
Switch 2. I don't know, man.
What if they just
I
call
don't
it the
know.
Switch It Up?
I think it's
To
gonna
switch
be.
it
Oh
up.
my god. I think it's gonna be a completely different thing. I don't know, man. I think it's. I don't know.
Swatch. Switch
The
Swatch.
Swatch.
Oh, you know,
Super
I'm
Nintendo
dead.
Switch is actually probably a good one. That's
that'd be
probably
a-
that's
like
not
Hey,
that's
that
not
would be
bad.
God.
That's actually
Super
not
Nintendo
that
Switch.
that was
Yo,
Super
that's
Nintendo-
actually sick.
that's
Yeah.
actually pretty sick actually.
Yeah.
I think that's likely.
Yeah, that makes sense. But the thing is, if they call it Super it depends on what it is, bro. If it's just an upgraded Switch, then yeah. But if it's some this Nintendo we're talking about, man, you never fucking know, dude.
SNES, baby.
These motherfuckers just be doing I'm sad, bro.
We went on
gonna know
a
soon.
we went on a super tangent. Though.
I mean, to be
What's the
fair,
original?
we technically weren't because we were talking about like launch titles and shit, and then we
Yeah,
ended up
yeah.
going on this shit.
It's
Yeah.
all been related.
But relating to PlayStation.
Yeah, Xbox, selling consoles, shit like that. Yeah. PC, we were talking about.
Oh yeah,
day
the
and date.
PlayStation
Yeah.
PC. Yeah.
I mean, it's all related because as of right now, we are, I don't want to say predicting, we're theorizing the next generation of consoles, which is coming
Man, this
up
podcast
with.
is literally just tangents. Who cares?
Yeah, it's coming up.
I
with the
mean, but
next
to be real, we
Switch.
call shit like 80 years
Yeah.
ahead. I mean, we called literally this entire fucking Microsoft podcast.
Whatever the Switch, we're gonna know what the next Switch is gonna be called relatively soon. I'm thinking sometime next month.
They said
potentially.
it might get. They said it got delayed. It might get delayed till next year. So maybe we won't
2025, early
Ooh, okay.
2025.
Yeah.
So.
I think okay. So I think at least if it gets delayed as a
know by
development,
the end
I
of the
think
year, of
we'll
course.
hear about it. Yeah, by like June
At
to
least
the end of the
September.
year, right?
We'll
like,
know
I
by
think
June.
the later
We'll
half of the
definitely know
year.
by
Yeah,
June.
for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be an interesting thing with that. We're gonna see what
Bayonetta 2 was the best launch title of all time. Let me
We're gonna
stop.
see what PS5 is gonna do. If they're gonna do what they're gonna do with the PS5 Pro. We're gonna see what Microsoft is gonna. Are they gonna do a half
Actually, wait,
console
it didn't even come out
generation?
at launch.
We
Fuck.
don't know.
It came out a year later. God damn it. That wasn't even a launch title.
Oh man.
Man,
Damn.
the Wii U sucked.
Selective memory.
You know it's
Nah,
not coming
because
out a
I
year
remember-
later.
No, nah, I remember I bought a fucking Wii U for Bayonetta 2 because I remember they announced that shit, and it didn't come out until like a year later. Fuck.
You know it's not coming out a year later. This podcast is coming out next week. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, join us, listen to us in the live show. We had a bunch of people in the chat today.
What kind
Shout
of
out to
segue
all you
was that?
guys in the chat. It was the
gonna talk about that?
segue of the console generation, bro. It's a PS5 Pro of segues.
You gonna let him get away with that one?
Yes, you will.
Wow.
With that being said, guys, tune in. Thanks for
No, it's
listening.
not over
We'll
yet.
be back
I'm not
next
done
week.
talking.
Fucking despair. We will check you guys out next week. Stay tuned. Check us out on all major platforms. Tune in on whatever platform you want to. Tune into the live chat. Join us in the conversation. You guys can type in chat and see what goes on and hear the after, which we're going to have plenty of after right now tonight. So stay tuned. Have a good night, y'all. And we'll talk to you next week.